Good evening, parents, students, guests. Happy New Year. Thank you to our parents and students and staff for taking some time to meet with me and just get some information about our reopening plan. Hope that you had a wonderful holiday break. Hope the students are doing well and you and your family are safe. Tonight, we just want to take a moment to talk about our plans for reopening. And that is, we have students that will be coming in for face-to-face starting in February. Our staff will be reporting back to the building on Tuesday with all safety precautions in place. So this evening, we just want to take a few moments to kind of go over our reopening plan. Please remember that this plan is a fluid document, meaning that it is ever changing as we get recommendations from the district, as we look back at our own protocols, and we will be adding things to it. So parents, we posted our plan on the website, and I will tell you it has changed since we posted on the website. So thank you again for this evening. We are live streaming this on YouTube. Please post your questions in the chat. We would definitely answer your questions. So please post them in the chat. So our agenda for tonight is we're going to really look at our opening plan. So our reopening plan is what we're going to cover. We're going to take questions from you. We're hoping your question will give us some ideas about things we did not think about, but we really want your input in as we plan for our students to return to the building, because we want our students and staff to be safe. I'm going to stop sharing this document, and I'm actually going to share with you our reopening plan. So please be patient. So what you should be seeing is the first page of our King reentry plan for the first 9 weeks of second semester. Please remember that parents were given the option prior to the holiday break to select if they wanted their student to be face-to-face or come in virtual. That feedback was used to build this plan. And so parents will have another option for those who who probably will consider having kids come back in the building after the first 9 weeks. You will also get an option in February for the last 9 weeks of the school year. But for right now, our students will be, we have built our plan based on parent input.
You ask if they can hear now? Oh, I can do that because I see it now.
Ms. Shea, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can, but it seemed like they were having some problems with it in Zoom. I mean, in YouTube.
Okay. So you're muted. You're unmuted, Ms. Shea.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay, so I'm sorry, parents. So once again, just want to take a moment to go over our King reentry plan for the first 9 weeks of second semester. Remember, this plan is a draft form. It will change as we get more information from the district, from the State Board of Education, and from our parents, staff, and even from our administrative team. So the first thing I want to remind parents is that students who have selected to come in for face-to-face starting February 1st, which will be our 6th graders, they will have bus transportation, but on the buses, we cannot manage or control students being on the bus and where they sit and how they congregate. So I'm going to encourage parents as much as possible to bring kids to school, but we will have bus transportation. But please know that the bus drivers will not, they will assign seats, but it's our parents, we really need our parents' help in making sure students stay as far away from each other as possible. Students will be required to wear masks when they get on the bus. So just make sure that students have masks. When students report to the school building, our students will be entering through different parts of our building because we have a group of students that are coming in, and we will be taking roll when they come into the building. So when our sixth graders get off the bus, they will actually enter through the main door of the building. So there will be some adults guiding our sixth graders with a roster, checking off those students who have signed up for face-to-face. Our 7th and 8th graders will enter through the gym area. We have divided the groups up to ensure that we have some social distance in place for students, as well as move the students quickly as possible. Before the students enter the building, students will have their name checked off on the roster. So we know that right now we have only 97 sixth graders that will be coming face-to-face. Only those 97 sixth graders who parents selected for face-to-face will be allowed to enter the building. And their names will be checked off. Their name will be checked off. Their temperature will be checked to make sure their temperature is below 100.4. And then they will receive hand sanitizer, and we will provide a mask if they don't have one. So all these things will take place before any student entering the building. The car riders and walkers will be directed to go to the areas designated for their grade level. So it's really important that if you're a sixth grade, you would enter the building through the main door, which is in the front of the building. 7th and 8th graders will enter down by the gym, 7th graders on one side and 8th graders on the other. Some additional things that we need for parents to help us with as students return into the building. Effective February 1st, we will revert back to our middle school schedule. Once kids are in the building, we will be on our middle school schedule, which is 9:05 to 4:05. So that means that students will have a longer day in the classroom, and it's just a longer day all around. So parents, I want you to make sure you talk to students about that we're going back to that long day that we had in middle school. So it's going to require our students to be a little bit more structured in order to be successful for middle school. The other addition is that we will be requiring students to turn on their cameras. This first semester, one of the lessons we've learned is that it's very hard to judge if a child is engaged in learning because their cameras are not on. So teachers will be requiring students to have their cameras on in order for them to get credit for that day. If there is a special circumstance, parents will need to notify the teacher, and the parent and the teacher will work out the details of that. But we really want our kids to have their cameras on so we can so we can look at the student engagement to make sure our students are learning. Our goal for second semester is preparing students for promotion. So this is students that whether you're in the virtual setting or in a face-to-face setting, the requirement will be all students would need to have their cameras on. For students who are coming into the building for face-to-face, students will be required to bring their laptops. I'm sorry, parents. I just did. Okay, I'm sorry, parents. A technical difficulty. So we're asking kids who are coming for face-to-face, students will be using their laptops. So parents, students will be bringing their laptops to school each and every day. Remember, the laptop will be the main mode of educating and providing instruction. So students will need their laptops. We're asking students to have a backpack with their laptop, their charger. They can bring one composition book to take notes, and that will be for all of their classes, pencil and paper, and a water bottle. We are planning on January the 28th, a final orientation for those students who are coming in for face-to-face. All assistant principals will be holding a student orientation for all students coming in for face-to-face. So if your child is a face-to-face student who will be here, you will receive information concerning the orientation for the students who will be in the building. Assistant principals will be sending those announcements out in the next week. For those students in a virtual setting, which is going to be a big change, they will be in class from 9:05 until 4:05. So parents, this is a big change that we need to have a conversation with our students about, because they will be in class from 9:05 to 4:05. So our next week, over the next 2 weeks, our teachers will be talking to students as well about the change in the schedule. So we really want to take the next 2 weeks to give students and teachers time to adjust to our new schedule of going back to 9:05 to 4:05 starting February the 1st. Our 7th and 8th graders, they will return on February 4th. So on February 1st, only our 6th graders, the 97 6th graders, will come into the building. On February 4th will be when our 7th and 8th graders report. And I will give you those numbers in a few minutes of how many students will be reporting for face-to-face. One of the biggest things that we are trying to continue to have a partnership. We partner with Emory University, Georgia State, Clark Atlanta, and they provide student teachers, they provide mentors, and we will continue with that partnership, but that partnership will remain virtual. So we are limiting the number of people in the building to only the students and the staff. Only the students and the staff will be allowed to be in the building during the school day with students. So parents, all of our parent conferences, all of our parent meetings, they will remain in a virtual setting. We are really limiting our interaction and the number of people in the building due to health concerns. So parents, please make sure you share that with students, other adults, that they will not be allowed to come into the building because we're trying to limit that number. So we will continue our partnership and it will remain in a virtual setting as well. So I'm going to go down to our enrollment, King's enrollment right now. Currently, we have a total of, we have 874 students enrolled in our school. Based off of the parents who turned in their forms by the due date, which was December the 21st, we have 96 sixth graders that will be participating in face-to-face coming into the building. We have 209 sixth graders that will remain virtual. For 7th grade, we have 80 students that will be in the building, and we have 205 students that will remain virtual. For 8th grade, we have 77 students that will be in the building, and we have 198 students that will be virtual. So parents, I really want to stress, if your name is not on that list if the student's name is not on the list for face-to-face, they will not be allowed to enter the building. One of the biggest things that we have been working on is we've been looking at how do we organize our classrooms. And so over the last couple of months or so, the assistant principals, we have rearranged classrooms, the classroom setup to try to figure out a configuration to support social distance in the classroom. And so our classrooms are about 690 square feet, which will accommodate 12 to 13 students with social distance in place. And so, as you can see, based off our numbers of kids who are coming in face-to-face per grade level, we really can support that in our building. So based on our numbers, we have a good number of students that we could make sure that they remain social distance who are doing face-to-face. We have established some basic protocols for classrooms. When students enter the building, they will move directly to their home rooms. Students will not go to the cafeteria. They will not go to the amphitheater. It still will be it would be totally different than it was from last school year. Students will report to their homeroom. They will have an assigned seat that they will sit in each and every day, and they will have an assigned seat in every class. This is to support contact tracing. Once again, teachers will create a seating chart to make sure we know where students are. During class, when class starts, teachers will be working with the students who are in the class as well as those are in virtual. One of the things we really wanted to make sure was that we did not change students' schedule because students have already established a relationship with their teachers. So we didn't want to take a kid that is virtual and remove them from their teacher because that teacher has some students face-to-face. So teachers will be teaching both groups of kids, face-to-face and virtual. So it's very important that students start class on time and that they're on time. So parents, if you have a student that will be in the virtual setting, it is very important when we release the new schedule for February 1st, they are on time. Students will receive a new connection course starting Monday. So for the first 2 weeks of this semester, we will operate on our current virtual schedule. Nothing is changing. We're going to use the next 2 weeks as a way of preparing our students for the big change that will start February the 1st. And so the only change is that students will receive their new connection course, and students can check their Infinite Campus schedule this weekend and they will see their new connection course. So one of the big programs that we've had at King, we've always had recess, and that we will not have recess this year, but we will have stretch breaks for students. So recess will be going away because of the situation we're in with COVID, but we will have stretch breaks for students. Students will not be able to use lockers during this time. So for those students who are coming, they will not be able to use lockers. We're asking parents to make sure that students have a backpack, they have their laptop, they have a composition book, pencil, and a bottled water, because the water fountains are not working, but the bottle dispenser will be working. For breakfast and lunch, students will receive their breakfast and lunch. They will be eating in the classroom. So we will not have students congregating in the cafeteria. We did look at that, and we actually worked on a plan for that, but because of some federal guidelines, we cannot have large groups of students in any parts of our building. We have established a care room for staff and students. So for those students that once they're in the building, if they are ill, we do have what we call a care room where students will be isolated until a parent picks them up. So parent, if you have a student that is face-to-face, please make sure that your contact information is updated in Infinite Campus, because the expectation is that once we call, we're expecting parents to pick students up between 30 and 45 minutes, because the longer they're in the building, the possibility for contamination. So we want to make sure that students who are ill are quickly removed. One of the things that parents can do prior to students leaving home is check their temperature. And just as parents, we know our children. We want our children to be safe. We want your child to be safe. We want every student to be safe. We want every adult to be safe. So parents, please help us out. If students are ill, please do not send them to school. But if a student comes to school and they are ill, parents, please make sure your contact information is updated, because we will be expecting parents to pick their students up between 30 and 45 minutes after our call. Students will be supplied face masks. We have over 20,000 face masks in our building. So we know that students are students, and sometimes their face masks may break. So teachers will have an extra supply to give students for that. But parents, please remember, a part of safety is having some self-discipline. And so please talk to students about the importance of keeping their masks on. If students are in violation, those students' parents will be called and they will have to be removed from the school. So we really want our kids to be here for those parents who have chosen face-to-face, but we do expect for them to wear their mask at all times while they're in the building, for their safety as well as for the safety of others. So within our plan, there are certain masks that cannot be worn at our school. There's those that have those fleece and knitted, they cannot be worn. And so that's why we do have disposable masks as well as cloth masks that the district has purchased. So we do have cloth masks that students will receive, as well as the medical masks that we have. Students will receive those as well. So this plan does contain more information about safety, but I wanted to make sure parents understood some of the basic things that we have in the plan. So as I'm going through the plan, parents, please type your questions in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them. Assistant principals and teachers are now working on transition plans. And so when students are in the classroom, it will be very structured so that we can make sure that students, staff are safe. So parents, please talk to students. They will not be able to congregate as they once did. We understand their kids. We understand they're gonna want to talk to each other. But the most important thing is making sure they wear their mask, and we will provide a hand sanitizer as well to make sure they are safe. The district will be supplying deep cleaning on Wednesdays. So Wednesday will be what we call asynchronous Wednesday, where all kids will be at home. So all kids on Wednesday will be at home virtually, our staff as well, because the district will be deep cleaning the buildings on Wednesday. And again, we're still working with the district for ventilation. We're also working with human resource for those staff members who, because of health concerns, cannot be in the building. Right now for King Middle School, we have 4 staff members who have applied for telework. So that means that those 4 staff members will not be in the building, but we will have coverage for their class, but they will be teaching virtually. So again, parents, Adults will not be allowed to be in the building. If a parent has a question or need to register, all those things will happen after 9:45. So we will not allow any adult in the building until we get all the kids settled in the building. We get our sixth graders through, temperature check and everything. The front office will be open starting at 9:45. Only those adults who have questions about registration will be addressed. If there is a need for a parent conference, those will be handled through the virtual setting through a Zoom meeting. And again, those who are coming, we do have transportation. So that kind of sums up our plan. It is a very fluid plan. We're changing it as we speak. It's very important that on July 28th, that those students who are face-to-face, that you do attend the orientation meeting that will happen for your grade level on the 28th. So at this time, Ms. Shea, I'm gonna turn it over to you. And then we can start with questions, and then we'll do announcements after all of the questions.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The first question is, the COVID cases are higher than ever. Why does APS feel that it's safe for students and teachers to return now when it wasn't safe in March and it wasn't safe in November?
That is a great question, and that is a question I don't have an answer for. But I will say that we have a principal meeting tomorrow with the superintendent, and I'm hoping she would address that because I've been hearing that from other parents and community members, but I don't have the answer for that. But I do know that one of the things I always tell, this is a plan, and when you think about a plan, it's what you would hope would like to happen. We never know. So when we set this out back in December, I know the district was thinking that the numbers will be better. Hopefully by tomorrow I'll have the answer to that, but I don't right now.
Okay, if we no longer want face-to-face, how do we change that as the cases get higher?
If a parent wants to change from face, they need to email their counselor. The only thing that parents can do right now is they could email to remove from face-to-face, but you cannot email to be added to face-to-face.
Okay. Will you accommodate charging multiple laptops at once in the classroom? My child's laptop has to remain plugged in. Should she bring an extension cord?
No, she does not need an extension cord. We have purchased power stations for all of the classrooms. So we have plenty of power stations. All we ask is the student just bring their laptop and their cord to the laptop. That's all we're asking. We have plenty of power stations.
Okay. This goes back to the person not wanting to come back face to face. Is staying virtual an option if they don't go back in person?
Yes. So if we know that if a student don't attend, students will still have access to their Google Classrooms because that will be the main mode of instruction. And so we still will be taking attendance. So we just ask that if you notify the counselor, we'll know who to expect. So just notify your counselor. For sixth grade, Mr. Carter. For seventh grade, Mr. Kabir. And for eighth grade, Ms. McCullough. Or you can reach out to the grade level assistant principal, sixth grade, Ms. Willingham, seventh grade, Ms. Swinson, eighth grade, Mr. Dow.
Okay. What is the first week schedule? Somebody missed what you said about the first week schedule. Can you just review that real quick?
Yes. So currently, the schedule we are currently operating under, we will follow that schedule for the first 2 weeks. So on Tuesday, when students return from the King holiday, they will still follow the same schedule. They will still follow the same time schedule on Tuesday. The only difference on Tuesday is they will have a different connections. So all of their content classes will be the same. They will have a different connections because we're starting a semester. On February the 1st, we will start we will still follow, the kids will follow their same schedule, same set of teachers. The only difference is the time will be longer in class. And so over the next 2 weeks, please have a conversation about students will be spending more time in class because the day will be changing and we'll go from 9:05 to 4:05. And that will start on February 1st. But parents, we will be sending out more information about that, as well as a copy of the new schedule the second week. We're just looking at what would be the best. We're trying to tweak the schedule to still provide breaks for students and stretch, making sure there's time to clean, knowing that teachers are working with students in the classroom as well as at home. And so we're trying to figure out the best possible schedule for that.
Okay, so this one says, for the longer day, what will the breaks be like for the students learning online?
Unfortunately, there will be 5-minute transitions. So we will have lunch, but there will be 5-minute transition. Unfortunately, one of the things that we've learned from first semester is that we've provided a lot of breaks, but we still are missing some parts of the curriculum. And our goal for second semester is to get our students ready for promotion. So in order for us to do that, we will have, classes will be longer. There may be breaks embedded within the class.
How many students per class?
Per class virtually or per class?
I would say in person. I would say how many students will we have in the classes in person?
So right now we have set we can accommodate up to 12 to 13 students per class. But based on our numbers, we have sixth grade only has 97 sixth graders. But but because I can't say we take 97 divided by 12, which is the number of sixth grade teachers we have, that would be that class size. Because the way we built our schedule was based off of the kid. So if a kid in Dr. Hamilton's class, which is a sixth grade teacher, if 13 of those parents chose to do face-to-face, then that homeroom would have 12 to 13 kids in it. So that's how we're looking at it. We're trying to make sure that we do not change our kids' teacher because we don't mess up that relationship. So our goal is for those classes to be a size between no more than 12 students, to be honest. There may be a few tweaks, but kids will still have their same teacher.
Are any shots required?
Shots? All shots are encouraged to be updated. If kids have not updated their shot, they will not be able to enter the building. So I know that our counselors have been calling, our graduation have been calling those parents who need shots. Our nurse has been calling. Speaking of that, we do have, for those parents who still need assistance with getting shots, we will have the Ronald McDonald Care Mobile. They will be here Friday from, I want to say, I think it's 10 to 4?
10 to 5. 10 to 5 tomorrow.
10 to 5. So the Ronald McDonald Care Mobile will be in our parking lot. And if your shots are not up to date, if your immunization is not up to date, whether you're in sixth grade, because we have a few sixth graders, we also have a few eighth graders and seventh graders, you can get your shots updated on Friday. Just come to our school in the parking lot. They will be there to update your shots, your child's shots.
Okay. This is more of a statement. Temperature checks are just not enough. Why are we not doing household screens?
Why are we not doing who?
Screens, but we are doing some screens. We're doing some classroom barriers, I'm assuming. We are doing that. Did you mention that?
Oh, are we? Okay. So temperature is not enough. We agree. But so temperature is only one part of the thing that we're doing. So when kids enter the building, we will be checking their temperature. We will be giving them hand sanitizer to clean their hands. We will make sure they have a mask on. And then those students will go to their class. Once they go into their class, then we are making sure that students are separated. Our goal is for 6 feet apart where they're not in the classroom. So that's another level of barrier for students, making sure they're 6 feet apart. The third level, we have ordered partitions to make sure they're in the classroom as well. So that's a third level. But the big key is, and what the CDC has said is the most important thing that we can do is have students, have staff wear their masks.
Will they need to wear uniforms, in the building?
No, we just want our, for our kids to come back, we just want them to follow the rule of wearing their masks, practicing social distance, come dressed appropriately, have their laptop, and just come with a positive attitude and be patient.
Okay, I believe this question, it says, how do we sign up? And so I'm assuming it's, how do we sign up to come back in person? But of course, the survey has already been expired.
So the survey for this 9 weeks has passed. The district will release the survey for the second 9 weeks. That will be sometime in February. So right now we have built our face-to-face program based off of the data that parents submitted back in December. The second semester, the second half of second semester, parents will have an opportunity to submit for those if they wanted their kids to come face-to-face.
Does this mean they'll be changing classes?
Yes, our students will be transitioning. That will be a part of their break and stretch break. Because of the numbers, students will be able to transition and have social distance. The teachers and the assistant principals, they're right now developing a transition plan for all students and for every class. And that's why it's very important that if your child is face-to-face, they attend that orientation that will take place on January 28th.
Will lunch be provided, or will I need to send lunch?
Lunch will be provided. And if you do send lunch, please remember that we are trying to get our kids to eat healthy. So just make sure that it is not a large bag of what the things that students like, Takis. But if you're bringing their lunch, they can eat their own lunch, but we will provide lunch and breakfast for students.
This is a request. Can you provide a standard virtual classroom background for everybody? Some kids don't want everybody to see the inside of their house. It's a privacy issue.
Yes, we can do that. I know that some of the computers are able to put up a background, but we can send out some backgrounds for students to upload. Our biggest, if there's some privacy issues there, that's why it's very important for that parent to communicate with the teacher. Our biggest concern is that when students are not showing their face, we can't judge if they're learning. And when we look at our students' grades, and when we look at students missing assignments, a lot of those students who have their cameras off, it correlates with their current grade and if they have a true understanding of what those concepts are. So that's why it's very important, parents, if there are some issues and you have concerns about your child showing their face, please contact a teacher. And the teacher is willing and ready to come up with some other options. We just want to make sure kids are engaged in the learning. And what we discovered, a lot of our kids are not. They turn the camera off, they walk away. Teachers are calling their name. When they get an assessment, they don't do well, or they're missing an assignment. And you as a parent say, I know they've been on there all day long. But kids are very smart. They know how to hide and go and play a game while they're supposed to be in class.
Where is there a place where parents can see the in-person lists? The parents that signed up, is there a place they can see to make sure their child's on the list?
There is not a place to where they can see a list, but we will be mailing those parents a letter notifying you that you have chosen face-to-face. We also will be mailing a letter to parents who are virtual. So every kid would get a letter saying whether they're face-to-face or virtual. That will come. You will receive that letter by next weekend.
Okay. Will students have the opportunity to go outdoors where they might remove their masks at least for a few minutes during the school day?
That's a great idea. That's a great suggestion. that is something I would definitely look at and refer back to our health department and get guidance on it. If we could do that, we definitely would do that.
Okay.
And let me make a note. Ms. Shea, can you ask Ms. George to make a note of that so I can make sure I do check on that?
She already did.
Okay, thank you.
If a face-to-face student is ill on one day but feels okay to complete his work, can they still participate online from home?
Yes. Whether our kids are in person or not, they still can complete their work at home. Yes. All we're asking is that parents communicate with the teacher, and because our goal is for students to learn. So if a student is too ill to come to school and they have signed up for face-to-face, if they complete their work at home, we're happy because learning is taking place.
Where can we get a copy of this meeting as shown on the notes? It will be posted on our YouTube channel. It will stay up there. This whole meeting will, the recording of this meeting.
Yeah. So this meeting will be posted on our YouTube channel. We will also, the first draft of our plan is on our website. And then once we have a final draft, we will post that final draft to our website as well of our plan.
Okay. We know the kids are changing classes. What about kids who have PE?
They will still be able to go to PE. And the way we've looked at our connection class, the connection classes for students who are face-to-face will be less than 8 students per class. So there will only be about 8 PE students in Mr. Manning's class and possibly 8 students in Mr. Taylor's class. So they can practice social distance in the gym. They still will be required to wear their mask.
Can we change from virtual to in-person and vice versa? Or
No.
do we have to remain by this choice until the end of the year?
We do not. So we cannot change at this time, but you can change for the second half of second semester. Right now, everybody who chose, if you chose virtual, you're going to remain virtual. If you did not participate and did not fill out the form, you will remain virtual. If you completed the form and selected face-to-face, you are face-to-face. But if you selected face-to-face, you can choose to go back to virtual. It is just that virtual cannot choose to go to face-to-face.
Let's see, when do we get bus route information?
When do you get, say that again, Shea?
When do we get the routes, the bus routes?
That will come hopefully by next Saturday, because I will get more information with transportation. We have a principal meeting tomorrow with transportation. So once we received it, you will get a robocall from our school noting that transportation has posted the routes. So our goal is to have parents start getting everything by next Saturday.
What do you guys need that you don't have? I know some school teachers don't have cleaning supplies. How can we help?
Oh, that's a really nice question.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate you asking. I think one of the things that parents can do to help is just get the word out that we would love for all of our kids to be back in the building, but at this time, unfortunately, we can't. And that it is not that it's a punishment that you can't change your mind. We're just really concerned about safety. So if parents could get the word out that our biggest goal right now is safety, but also learning. And so those are the 2 things we want to focus on. I would say if you would love, cleaning supplies would be great. Hand sanitizer would be great. We have all of that, but making sure like the little small one for kids to have, I think the biggest thing parents can do right now is just help us get the word out that we really want our kids to be on each and every day, ready to learn, and that it's going to be a longer day. I do appreciate that asking.
Yes. Will students be going to connection classes, or will those be done online from the same classroom?
No, students will be transitioned to connection class. So based on our numbers of kids who have chosen face-to-face, connection classes will only be about 8 students per class. And so teachers will escort students to connection class. Students will not be transitioning by themselves. Adults will be escorting them to their class, making sure that students practice social distance, and they will have their connection class in the area of connection.
Okay. For those continuing to learn virtually, will meal pickup continue?
Yes. Yes, so meal pickup will continue. I think they moved the day to Wednesday, but we'll make sure that in the letter it's Wednesday, but we'll make sure to the letter that we get out, we'll put that in the letter as well.
Okay. Are we definitely coming back face to face, or are we still looking at COVID numbers? Is this still just a plan?
This is still, all I can say, this is still just a plan, and it's our hope. I am the principal of King Middle School, but I think that our superintendent is taking the information from the state, from the health department. But I know right now this is her plan for students to come back.
Is Wednesday going to be a Zoom day?
Yes. So please remember, Wednesday will continue to be asynchronous because that's the day that the buildings will be closed down so that they will do a deep cleaning. And there's also training staff will be working on during that time.
Okay, can you, uniforms, we're not wearing uniforms. Teachers end up teaching over breaks sometimes. Can you make it clear that either they need to not do that or it be okay when the kids, I'm not sure. I don't know what the last part, but can you make sure the teachers don't teach through the breaks? I think is really.
I have encouraged teachers, I've encouraged students, anytime we get a break, please take advantage of it because it's very rare that you get a chance to disconnect, especially in this virtual setting when we spend so much time on the computer. So yes, I will definitely remind teachers of making sure they take a break themselves to give our students a break as well.
I know you've covered this, but I'll let you say it again. What if a student wants to go face-to-face instead of virtual?
The student will have to register for second semester, and that information has not been released. That will not, the second half of second semester, and that information, that won't happen until February. For right now, whatever group you're in, if you're face-to-face, you'll be the only ones allowed in the building. We will check you as you enter the building. So there will be adults by every door, and they will have a roster, and they will go through students' names to make sure that those are the students that should be in the building. So if you're virtual, please stay home. Please log on at 9:05 so your class can start. So please don't waste your time coming up here, and then we have to find a way for you to get back home because you can't come in the building, and then you're missing your class and you're missing learning.
Is it possible to move the advanced math class to the mornings?
That will require a major schedule change, but I can look at that, but I cannot promise that.
Okay. Is the COVID vaccine required?
No,
I'm assuming
because
is it
the
required
federal government has not released it to teachers or students yet. So they have only released it to anyone 65 years or older. So no, the vaccine is not required, but we do require that kids' current immunization is up to date.
If we have, we've already covered this, but I'll say it one more time. If you've changed your mind on going back face-to-face, can we stay virtual?
Yes, you can stay virtual. We just ask that if you would reach out to your counselor or assistant principal to give them heads up, or the child's homeroom teacher.
Okay, what will happen with sports teams? Will they convene?
Not at this time.
Okay. Backgrounds don't work on the Chromebooks, is what someone has said.
That's
about
what
that.
I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
So it may be that if, one of the things that we can send out some tips that you find an area where a kid, is there area where they actually work from that is not, that's kind of isolated from within the house. Our biggest goal, again, if that is an issue, then just reach out to the teacher. Our biggest concern is making sure the student is engaged. If the parent can guarantee that the student is engaged in learning, with the camera off, we have no problem. But if the student turns the camera off and is not learning and is not comprehending, and the teacher has no way of helping the student, even when the teacher is calling the student's name and the student is not responding, then that presents the issue. And so we really want our kids to be engaged.
Okay, will the students in orchestra be required to bring their instrument every day?
That will come from the orchestra teacher. She will give direction as to what students need to bring. But I do know that that teacher will inform you of that.
Okay. Can students use an iPad rather than the school issued computer?
They can use iPads, but I will say that the iPads sometimes don't work with some of the apps that teachers may use. So that's not the only concern I have is that students may get into a class and the teacher may be using a different app that the iPad does not work with.
Okay, what are the odds, in your opinion, of APS calling off face-to-face and remaining virtual? And what will the quarantine protocols be should there be a case in a particular classroom or LC?
Okay, so
Dr. Brown.
I don't gamble, so I will not give odds. I've never even played the lottery, so that will not be a part of it even now. So I've never played the lottery, so I don't gamble. I guess I would just say, you know, it's hard to say. So we just try to put a plan in place to support students and staff and make sure students and staff are safe. As far as if a student, that's why it's if a student is ill, if a staff member is ill, we have a room called the care room. They will be directed there. We will have to notify district. There will be some communication that will go home to students concerning just letting you know if they were in contact with this person. There will be a deep cleaning. We do have those protocols. It's actually listed in the book as well. So our biggest goal is, that's why we're asking parents to make sure if the student is sick, please keep them at home. That's why we're checking the temperature. That's why we're asking students to wear their masks. That's why we're using hand sanitizer. That's why we're adding the partitions in the classroom. So all of those things are safety precautions, but even then we know that things happen. But as soon as we know students will be removed or adults will be removed and taken to the care room, parents will be called and asked to come to the school to pick their child up within 30 to 45 minutes, because we want to remove the sick student out of this situation so they won't contaminate others. And we do have an area where they will be isolated until they're picked up. And then there will be a deep cleaning in those rooms. So we do have some protocols in place to make sure that if that happens, we react pronto.
Okay, can you go over the dates of when the kids are coming back one more time, the in-person kids?
Yes, so for in-person, February the 1st, 6th grade only. And so you will receive a letter for those students who are face-to-face. It would say, hey, my child's in 6th grade. Your first day of school is February the 1st. For 7th and 8th graders, it's February the 4th. There will be an orientation, and so please write this date down. We're going to post it to our website. January the 28th at 5 o'clock, there will be a group meeting, and then parents will be broken off into grade level meetings to meet with their administrator to go over the face-to-face orientation for students. So that meeting will take place before students come into the building.
Okay, I'm going to just read a compliment because it's nice to see them. Thank you for this helpful meeting. Great answers to great questions. I do have another. And then thank you, Mr. Brown and team, for all your hard work to put together this well thought out and detailed plan. We're here and ready to support you all during this effort. Let's see, okay, you've answered that. Will the in-person curriculum follow the virtual learning curriculum? Are they cohesive?
Yes. So it's cohesive, yes.
Is it still possible to get a Chromebook for face-to-face?
Yes. So please continue to call 1000, even if you call the school. Miss George, I know you're there, so you want to hop on to help. What can a parent do for a computer?
I got the name. I wrote the person's name down. I'll give it to Miss George.
Okay.
Let's see. Thank you for the info. What about the prom? Will we have a virtual one this year?
That's a great idea. And so I would take that back to Mr. Dow and the 8th grade team. And after getting input from students, yeah, that's possible. So I do think that we want to make sure we provide some activities for our students. Hopefully it will be better in the district. Right now, the district has says all after-school activities are canceled or not in place. And so once we get a decision from the district, hopefully that decision will be we can do some things with kids that are fun and supportive to end their year. We would love to do it.
Okay. And Ms. Butts, the orchestra teacher, answered the question about instruments. All students returning to the building will need to bring their instruments to the school when they return. All students have been assigned their own instrument, no instrument sharing.
Okay, great.
The parent, I think it's Miss Cummings, asked about a Chromebook. Miss Cummings, if you could put your child's name in the chat, Miss George will reach out. Let's see. Thank you so much. I do appreciate the detailed answers you're giving. I really hope the kids get back to the normal learning style. Will the notice be coming in the mail next week, and will it have the start dates?
Yes. So you will receive a letter by Saturday, hopefully no later than Monday, but you'll receive a letter prior to, we're mailing them out next week.
Okay, and then someone asked about band students, instruments. I'm assuming instruments for band students, and of course, we'll get the information for that as well. I don't think
Yes.
Mr. Chapman is on this meeting tonight. PTSA is ready to support a virtual 8th grade prom and any other student activities that are possible.
Once we get a decision from the district and guidance from the district, we will definitely make sure our kids have some outlet.
Okay, will the graduation be in virtual or in person for 8th grade?
That has to be determined. Hopefully if, you know, who knows, the next couple of months, maybe there'll be a change for the better. We keep seeing the change for the worse. Hopefully things will get better where we can have an in-person graduation, but I can't give an answer to that until we see a change in our environment.
Okay, that's it. That's
Okay.
it. Those are all the questions.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing the handbook, but I do want to share with parents some announcements. Shea, I hope I know how to get back to it.
I hope you do too. Because
I'm learning. I got it. I'm getting a little better at this. So I'm gonna share my screen. Ms. Shea, can you see my screen?
no, I cannot. I see you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Now can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So parents, let me say thank you for all your questions. Thank you for your ideas, because you gave me some ideas as you were answering questions. So I appreciate that. A couple of takeaways for me, and one big thing that I'm gonna check on is if it's possible for students to go outside and take off their masks to get a breathing break. That's a great idea. I would definitely run that by our health department, health and safety department. And if that's possible, we will make it happen. The other thing is that the one thing I've learned is that we have a really great community of students and a great community of parents. And parents, I just want to thank you for your support during this hard time, and just know that we want our kids back in the building. The last thing I want to leave you with is that we have a couple of announcements. We have been working really hard to strengthen our partnership with Jackson High School since we became an IB school. And so one of the things that there will be a rising 9th grade parent meeting, and that meeting will take place on Thursday, the 21st. So 8th grade parents, I know that the teachers have posted the announcement in their classes. It is also on our website, but there is a 8th grade, a 9th grade parent interest meeting that will take place on Thursday, January 21st at 5:30. And we will post that flyer to make sure everybody get that. The next thing is that parents, there will be a link placed in the chat. Is it right, Ms. Shea?
Yes, yes, 2 links actually, yes.
Okay. So there's a link that is placed in the chat of a family engagement survey. We really want to get feedback from our parents. We know that it's been difficult to have engagement in this situation, but we still want to get some feedback from our parents. So please complete that link. And then there will be a special MLK Day Summit link. I know that is done through Georgia State All-Stars. Correct, Ms. Shea?
Yes, yes, yes.
And so parents, please complete that link as well. It is to honor Dr. King, and especially since it's our school, we do want to have our students and parents represented. And then the last thing is, the second to the last thing is that if your student need their immunization updated, they're missing a shot, whether they're in 6th grade, 7th grade, or 8th grade, I know you received a call, probably about 3 or 4 calls. You probably got tired of us calling you, but please understand when kids are not, when their immunization is not up to date, it presents an issue for school. And personally for Mr. Brown, it presents an issue because the state can fine me personally $100 for every kid whose immunization is out of compliance that I allow to come to school. So please get your immunization update. I do not have $100 for every kid immunization who's out of date. I do not have $100 for one kid out of date. So please get your immunization updated. The Ronald McDonald Care Mobile will be here. They will be in the parking lot. And all you have to do is show up. It is from 10 to 4. You do not have to make an appointment. You show up, they will come to your car and they will tell you when to enter the mobile, and you will get the shots updated. I think it's called mobile.
The Ronald McDonald Care Mobile. But,
okay, Care Mobile.
It's for all children.
Care Mobile.
Ages 4 to 18, 19.
So if you have a student in elementary school that needs their shots updated, please bring them. If you have a student in a high school, please bring them. It is we've arranged this for our community because we still have 10 6th graders whose shots are out of compliance. We have 37 7th graders whose shots are out of compliance. And we have 4 8th graders whose shot is out of compliance. So please take advantage of this opportunity and spread the word. And finally, we have a PTA that's really been working hard to serve our children and our school and our staff. And we will have a PTA meeting on February 4th, starting at 5:30. Okay, so those are all of my announcements. Again, thank you parents for your questions. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments. We really appreciate you. Students, I hope you're having a great day.
Mr. Brown, there's one last question, and I don't believe that they are giving out flu shots. It's just immunizations.
Just immunization. It's only for immunization.
They may have some, but I wouldn't count on it. So you certainly come if you want to come, but it's not a guarantee. It's
for the Care Mobile, yeah, for the Care Mobile, it's primary for updating students' immunization. But also remember that we do have the Whiteford Clinic stationed at our school, so you may want to call the Whiteford Clinic, and I think they could actually do the flu shot. Anything else, Ms. Shea?
No, sir, that's it.
Again, parents, staff, guests, thank you for attending tonight. Please have a great evening. This concludes our meeting.
Thank you, everybody.